Alright, so it's been a hot minute since I've done anything regarding Randy Cunningham, Ninth Grade Ninja, which, by the way, has suddenly gotten this massive upkick. I don't know where that came from, so I was like, alright, cool, I'll do some stuff with this. I thought it'd be kind of fun to return to an old classic. Anyway, so this is going to be interesting. As you can see from the title, it's going to be called, this is Randy Cunningham, Ronin. So this story, basically what it is that Randy has done battle with the sorceress who returned. This is the aftermath of a battle between him and the sorceress who has returned from the land of shadows. The two fought, and Randy was presumed dead. The ninja and the sorceress did battle in this massive battle at the high school, and Norrisville High was completely destroyed from the battle, and the ninja was presumed dead at the end of it. Unfortunately, that was not the case. You see, Randy lost the mask. Not only that, he lost his identity. What has happened is that after the battle, the sorceress was defeated, but someone came along and snatched the mask, and Randy was left without a life. Turns out the person who stole his life was himself. Yeah, a clone of Randy Cunningham. We got some clone saga up in here. So, in here, Randy lost his light. It lost basically his entire identity to a clone who snatched the mask after he was defeated and left for dead. He took on the ninja persona, and this clone is now taking over his life. Randy, however, was still unconscious. He was in a coma, but he was found by someone. That someone was unfortunately Hannibal McFist, who now knows that Randy Cunningham was the ninja. And Hannibal is like, yeah, sup, I know you're the ninja, but here's the thing, is that he doesn't have after all this time, I couldn't beat you when the sorcerer was around. You more or less, I've been trying to kill you all this time. Now I've got you with no mask. But we have a problem. Turns out, Hannibal has been dealing with some problems. That being a very scary, unknown person known as the Splicer. If you guys remember, the Splicer was one of my first original Randy Cunningham villains that I created, who was more or less based off the Jackal. The Splicer is a mad scientist who essentially creates clones, but also adds in animal DNA into his clones. Why? Because he's kind of crazy like that. There's a little more to it, but yeah. So the Splicer is a threat to Hannibal and his business, and he needs someone on the outside to take care of business. He needs a new bodyguard. He needs someone who can fight against whoever, whatever the Splicer throws out to kill Hannibal or try to take out his business. So it's not only him. There's also a few other new villains that are popping up around. And a lot of this is reworking of my original villains, like Mr. Blank, who is a gangster who is obsessed with just complete blankness and all that, and has a weird obsession with Heidi, creepy stalker obsession with Heidi. You have Snapper, who is this huge hulking turtle mutant who's based off of an alligator snapping turtle. You have several ideas I've given to a friend of mine, Alex, for his Ultimate Ninja story. I've given him a lot of the character ideas for those, but never hurts to come back to some classics. So more or less, Hannibal throws out this proposition. Listen, kid, I know you're Randy, I now know your identity, but I also know that your life has kind of been taken, so here's the deal. You help me take down the Splicer and these new guys trying to move into my city, and I'll help you get your life back. I'll help you beat this clone or whatever. And Randy's like, clone? What? So Randy doesn't believe him. He breaks out and escapes from McFist's lab and runs back home, only to discover, there is a clone who has single-handedly moved into his life. And the clone more or less catches on that Randy's watching him and actually beats the shit out of him because this clone is superhuman, augmented by a superhuman level, and Randy's still recovering from the injuries he took with the battle with the sorceress. So he's very much pretty fucked up. He is more or less fucked up in this regard. So he has to escape, go back to Hannibal, and despite his better judgment, he's like, okay, I will assist you. Like whatever we need to do, we'll do it. Like I will help you as long as you help me. Like that's the deal. So Randy has to take, now without a mask, he has to depend on all the training the Nomicon gave him. And the Nomicon is trying to find its way back to Randy, but the clone won't let him. And Randy, however, has to depend on all the training he has, and also gets like new gear and a new costume from Viceroy. So the new identity that Randy has to take is called Ronin. So Ronin, he now has he carries a sword now. He carries like body armor. He also has high-tech gadgetry that he can use. His suit can cloak. He can do a lot of other stuff. So it's kind of like Viceroy's like his M, if you want to go by 007 terms. Like, yeah, he's like 007, and Viceroy is his M. Or Q, excuse me, Q. Not, I meant Q. McFist is M. Viceroy is Q in this situation. And yeah, Randy has to pretend to be a villain now to get his life back, while the clone is taking over his life and running around as the ninja. So Randy, as the Ronin, has to fight him. He also has to go on other missions wherever McFist wants him to go. The ninja is sent. Randy is sent as Ronin to take out, any kind of trouble that McFist has in other businesses. This does cross over into other stuff. For instance, McFist Industries is being chased out by Xanatos Enterprises. So Randy is sent on like a reconnaissance mission to find like any kind of blackmail or something he can get on David Xanatos. Unfortunately, he runs right into the Gargoyles, who, since we're going by the season 2 end and kind of somewhere in Goliath Chronicles, Randy does encounter the Manhattan Clan and has to fight his way through them. You also have for other adventures he goes out into the world with. As Ronin, he is sent by McFist to help a business partner by the name of Gabriel Grest in Paris, and has to protect him from... he doesn't know he's Hawkmoth, but he has to basically protect... He has to act as like a bodyguard, because Grest basically tells McFist, this ladybug person's becoming a problem in this superhuman community. Do you have someone who he can take out, who can take him out, or take this Cat Noir and Ladybug problem? He's like, I got a guy. Of course, Randy doesn't like the idea of fighting other heroes and has to make it look good to stop them. He also tries to explain it, but of course, Marinette, being Marinette, doesn't want to hear any evil. Here's a quote unquote evil villain's lies. He also, since he's not with, since Teresa is kind of fawning over the clone, Randy, who's kind of pretty emotionally unstable right now, he's kind of emotionally out there, kind of has an attraction to Alia at this point. The two kind of the thing is that Randy has to go undercover at the school. He has to pretend to be a foreign exchange student and try to figure out some kind of dirt on who Ladybug is, even though he doesn't want to fight her. Eventually, he does make it look like Ladybug defeated him and he had to leave. That was the other thing, is that he has to make it look good. Eventually, Randy does help, with McFist's help, he does find the way to find the Splicers' headquarters. and the Splicer reveals that that he's been following Randy ever since he put the mask on. He's been collecting the ninja's DNA and retrofit to figure out it was Randy from like cuts that and like bits of blood that have been left behind, things of that nature. Like he managed to figure out who Randy was and managed to create a clone from him from the injuries he sustained from monsters and robots over his time as the ninja. The clone has also been lied to as well, because it turns out the clone believed he was the real Randy Cunningham, and that was the clone who went rogue, and the Splicer he made the clone think that he was the real Randy Cunningham, whom he saved from a clone created by McFist, and he augmented him with reptile DNA. So yeah, turns out the clone was the clone and Randy was the real Randy the whole time. The two fight, and Randy and his clone eventually kind of bury the hatchet, and the two defeat the Splicer, and the clone goes off on his own way. Now he takes on the Ronin persona as Randy reclaims his life. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much Randy Cunningham Ronin. I thought I'd do a quick abridged version. I thought this would be kind of fun. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Randy Cunningham Ronin? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. And as always, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon for exclusive content. And if you hit the 4th tier, you can send me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. Other than that, I am Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.